Well. What's going on, brother?
Here we are.
Here we are. Yes, sirree. Yes, sirree. David, I met you a couple days ago. I'd say 3 days to be exact on Monday. And today is Thursday. And we are actually, we're not in the States, are we? Where are we right now?
We're in Da Nang, Vietnam.
Da Nang, Vietnam. So when I got on my sales call, right, I saw a time, it was like 10:30 p.m. at nighttime, and I logged in to Google Meet. I opened up my screensaver, and I was like, yo, he looks like he has a dark background. And he noticed I had a dark background. And so instantly, I kind of smiled, right? I didn't know who you were, right? I had no idea who the hell you were. So tell them kind of like what happened during that moment.
Yeah, so I remember kind of like the first thing I noticed was like, okay, brother is not in the States. I'm not in the States. And I immediately was like, yo, where are you, man? And I had a feeling he was in Southeast Asia because just the vibes in the background, everything. And he was like, I'm in Vietnam right now, bro. And I said, no way, man. I'm in Vietnam right now. And then he asked me, where in Vietnam? And I was like, I'm in Hoi An. And he said, no way, I was there yesterday.
Yeah. And to give you guys some context, right, Vietnam, I guess, I'm not sure if we're in the north or south. I really haven't looked on the GPS. I'm going to be honest with you. But I know where you were because Hoi An, I was there last night with a girl. So, guys, I was on a date, right? And so it was just crazy because someone aligned us together. I don't know who sent us together to meet, but I was like, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be crazy. And here we are today, a couple days later, right? And I just say this because sometimes you meet people and you're destined to meet them no matter where you're at in your life, right? It's your journey. The journey is what's gonna, when you're on your journey, and when I say you're on your journey, guys, it could be your sales journey, it could be your spiritual journey, your life journey, or even better yet, your travel journey, right? So I was like, when you go abroad and you leave the US, you feel for other people how they feel because you know exactly what's going on. He knows exactly how I'm feeling and the dopamine hit that I get in Vietnam, and I know the dopamine hit that he gets whilst he's in Vietnam traveling the world. So why don't you give people some context if they're actually in the US watching this and maybe they're hoping to get into remote sales because of this lifestyle? Kind of tell them like your background of work and
yeah. So I graduated from university 2022, and then I moved to Chicago to work for a PR/IR firm. I was in sales doing business development work, and then about a year after that, I worked for a company called AFFIRM, which is in financial technology, buy now, pay later. Some of you guys might be familiar with. I was working as a business development associate for about 2 years. I've worked with businesses as little as 5 million to 30 million. And also I got promoted to the key and enterprise size, meaning I'm working with 500 million plus businesses. So that includes Montclair, Chanel, any retailer, anyone you can really think of in the BNPL space. And I was doing a bit of traveling. I was in Europe this past summer. And the more I traveled, the more I feel to myself like, how can I do this for the rest of my life? And it's not even the sense of I want to travel and just do whatever I want, but it's more about that, how can I wake up and choose where I'd like to wake up, who I want to be with, what I want to eat. And to some people, they don't really dare to even put themselves in that shoes. But for me, it's like I wanted to figure this out no matter what, even if I'm making $1,000 a month, even less, or $2,000 a month. It didn't matter to me how little or how great I'm making. It's just that I am free. I am my own boss. I don't have an employer that can let me go the next day and I can be replaced. It's like I want to figure out how to how to in a way control my destiny, my fate. So long story short, I left AFFIRM about 2 months ago, and as soon as I came back to the States, I was like, where am I going next? And it was Vietnam. I came to Vietnam to chase what I believe I need, what I want, and somehow, some way, it led me to my brother here. That happened to be an hour away from me. Hoi An is an hour away from Da Nang. And I said to him, no matter how this conversation goes, I'd love to meet you in Da Nang, you know, have dinner. And here I am. Here I am. So I hope this context helps a bit. I just know that the more people need to travel, especially outside the States, you see the world differently. The things you see, the people you meet. I've even been to Africa while working for AFFIRM, and it's like, no matter where you go and who you meet, every experience, every day will change you, and it changes you to be who you are. Look at this amazing spicy chicken sandwich. My first meal in Da Nang with our brother here.
Awesome. So what we'll do, guys, is we'll enjoy this dinner, right? Treating him to some dinner over here, and we'll enjoy the dinner now, and then we'll kind of get into, you know, why David wanted to get into remote sales, but we'll also go through some tips and tricks that when you guys are going through this journey of your sales journey, I want to definitely hone down on some skills that I've learned and picked up, and this is why it's important. So please, after we eat and, you know, pay attention. Take some notes, and we'll definitely get into it. All right. So, guys, we just had a big dinner. So full, you know. Hey, closed mouths don't get fed, right? So you have to eat as much as you can, absorb the knowledge. David, back to what we were saying. You know, ask me some questions, or I guess, what do you have in mind now that you're getting into high ticket sales now? How can I really extract information and put it up in here for you to retain for the future of like your sales calls?
Yeah, so I think my first question would be, what are the different kind of peoples that you kind of come across in terms of like their walk in this journey? Are they in corporate, or they maybe have never been to college, or kind of what kind of people do you come across on your calls?
Cool. So guys, when you're gonna be jumping on sales calls, you're gonna have to know, number one, they're gonna be from all forms of life. Majority of people are gonna be, I'd say, we're targeting 95% men between the ages of 18 years old to 45 years old. So understand that's a broad range of people. But ideally, the requirements, right? The people that I've been talking to, they've been door to door. They've kind of they kind of say they've been in sales, the experience of being in sales. But what does really someone mean when they say they've been in sales, right? Oh, I've sold ice cream before at a candy shop. Oh, I've done retail. Oh, I've done this. Like, listen, my friends, you've not done the one thing yet, which is remote digital sales. That's why you're here. That's why you're trying to learn these skill sets. So I have a college dropout. I have a corporate guy, right? And I guess as you elevate and you get older and wiser, all you need to do is you need to just relate to as many people as you can. From my experience, if I've done X, 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 and X, dude, I will relate to you. If I haven't, listen, dude, corporate America sounds brutal. I've personally never done it, and that's personally why, and when you tell me all the pains of why you don't like it, is why I don't do it, you know? So I hope that gives you some clarity.
Yeah, I think it's crazy. Brothers never worked for corporate America, but us boys, we know how it is. You have to wake up some as early as 7, 6. You have to be at a meeting no matter what. Lunch is what? It's 30 minutes for some people out here.
Really?
For us, it was an hour, but
yeah, wow.
30-minute lunch. We can't even have this meal for 30 minutes. Yeah. I think my second question would be, sometimes you kind of have to, in the closer especially, you have to show up to the call. You have to go out there and get your money. How do you kind of stay on top of the grind and kind of push yourself to be where you want to be, if that makes sense?
That's a great question, right? How do you always stay on top? And I think it goes down to how do you become a high performer? How can you show up every day when you know a paycheck is not coming there at the end of the day, right? And it's down to how do you wake up in the morning? I wake up moody as hell. I'm not a great morning person, but I have to get myself in a flow state. What is a flow state, you ask, right? What can I do to get myself in a state? Because I don't have to wait 30 minutes for lunch. So I can operate at my time. So if I know a sales call is coming in at 11 a.m., I know before the 11 a.m. call, I want to go for a quick run. I want to get my good dopamine hit, which means maybe my coffee, maybe my run, maybe my workout, right? I want to get a good hit of dopamine. And before the call too, I want to kind of, prepare myself. I'm getting ready for my day. And so I'll use ChatGPT, answer a couple of questions, role play a little bit with him, right? And talk to myself. Give myself a good YouTube motivational video, law of attraction. Keep manifesting what I want to manifest, right, in my life, and really put the energy out there. Like, what is a high performer as a closer? What does that person look like? How does he show up to the call? And that's the type of energy I want to go into my call. I want to make sure I elevate my energy. I want to get it heard on the call that you can feel my energy even if you're not physically present there. That's how I want someone to see me. And how do I keep that up? It's all internal work. It's all breathing. It's all going through those steps. So I hope that helps. So you need to find out what keeps you active as a high performer. If you're an introvert, maybe you haven't really done the reps and you just haven't done this. It's brand new, right? So what can you do to turn off your other side of like thinking and more get into the flow? I call it flow state, right? In yoga, you practice the flow state. You got to get yourself in a good steady state of flowmentum.
I think this is kind of a follow-up question with that. I am new to this space, so I don't know. I haven't, experienced 10K a month, 15K a month, whatever it is. But, when you are in the digital nomad space, like here in digital sales, we're in Vietnam right now. And me personally, I'm already too comfortable here. I'm already loving life. I want to, wake up some days already not want to do anything, just go to the beach and relax all day. How do you, even before the money comes in or after, how do you not get too comfortable? How do you just ride that state to kind of motivate yourself higher and higher? So even though we have the money, like, you want to keep going? How do you feel about that, like, personally for you?
It's a great question, brother. I think that for me, someone said, when you look back at the past, when I look back at my past and think to myself, shit, I don't want to be the same person I was last year. Meaning that if you know you're in an environment where you can definitely get comfortable, right? We're here in Vietnam. Things are super cheap. You can slack off. But it's about your purpose. Because I've done all that, right? I did all that in Thailand. You can go watch my YouTube videos. I had a lot of fun. But when you do things with a purpose and you know why you're doing it, right? It's all about knowing your why. Why do I want to do this? It's for the lost Asian guys and girls that I know I can really help. And I know I can really give what I've experienced in my life to you guys. And so, how can you wake up more and more? Dude, number one, You either change your environment, meaning that, yes, if you're in the States right now and you just need to change something. An environment doesn't mean changing locations. It means going into calls, right? Rewatching the recorded calls here. So what gets you up in the morning? Remember the why. And if you can remember why you got started, remember it. And that's what should keep you going for the rest of if it's to pay your mom's bills, is it to live your life, truly live your life? That should really, or you might experience some pain, some heartbreak. Whatever you experienced in the past is the reasons why you're not going to be that person in the past. I've experienced the heartbreak and the those emotions. I'm not going to be the same man who's just lounging around getting comfortable anymore, because I know who that man was. I know the type of man I was. I was overweight. I was kind of depressed. And so for me, I feel like I don't want to be that person again.
I think that's really powerful, guys. Yeah. I think you're right, that if I was in the position where it was even, at the level of 10, 15, 20K, that you might slack off, but then at that point, I feel like you've already established your inner state and your flow to get to that point where you might have a couple steps back, but maybe not too far off, because how could you have gotten there in the first place, almost, I feel like.
And so it's like this, right, brother? If you've experienced the months of making 5K, 2K, your first 1K a month, 2K, you've closed your first 1K deal, 2K deal, 5K deal, 10K deal, 15K deal, it's not a new thing, right? And so if it's not a new thing, it just means that you have a long way to go. My goals will be different to your goals right now. I've already experienced something, so if I've already experienced it, I know how to get there. It's just that person has not experienced those things, and you should find a way to get there. And I feel as if you have the entrepreneur spirit, if you know you're meant for more, which I think a lot of delusional people are in America, like we're all meant for more. We should be able to get more because we live in a land of opportunity. That's the one thing I can say about America is it's a land of opportunity, man. If you want it, it's there. Your parents worked hard to get your ass there, right? And so you've been given an opportunity. For me, I use the internet for this. I do it remotely, and yeah. Let's go more into like the closing skills.
Yeah, so in terms of when you get on the call and you already know that the person might be disqualified, or how does it really work where do you kind of get like a baseline idea of who you're dealing with, or how much money they might have saved, or how much they make on the call, or it's just like, no, all on the raw? That's cool.
When you go raw dog, guys, you know it's raw dogging is raw dogging is when you're on a plane and you don't do anything for an 8-hour plane ride. You just sit there, right? And you
Yeah, I don't know where that came from, but yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Maybe there's an experience. Who knows? Okay. So right here is where, if you want to know if a prospect has money or is qualified, you just have to ask them what they do for work. Where are they at in their life? David, what do you do? What did you do for work?
I was a business development representative for a fintech company.
Awesome. How much were you, if you don't mind me asking, how much money were you making per month?
I'd say a range from 5 to 6K.
5 to 6K, great. And and how long were you I guess working that job?
I was BDA for about 2 years.
2 years? And you've been traveling the world, right, recently, so I know traveling outside of the US, you probably have saved a lot of money, right?
Yes and no.
Awesome, man. Cool. And so from there, right, I kind of know that you've been making some decent money. And so now it's like, okay, I can get to the very end and always ask, Because I think that you can always ask someone, whether they say a number or not. David, how much money do you have in your bank account?
$1 million.
Perfect. He's qualified. Perfect. So, I know you have $1 million. Great. I'm gonna charge you $500,000 for this program.
Okay.
Perfect. Sending you over the invoice right now, brother. Let me know what's the best email for invoice?
David is the coolest in Vietnam.com.
There we go, brother. And so, yeah, that's to answer your question. To qualify someone, it's really just understanding how much they've spent, where they're at in their life. Sometimes, depending on the offer, like on my old credit offer, I could find out straight away. David, what's your credit score?
757.
How many credit cards do you currently have right now?
Just closed one, currently 3.
3? And what's your current limit?
My current limit is $15,000.
Any utilization on there?
Couple.
See? So, with that being said, right, I'm not figuring out how much cash he has in the bank. I'm figuring out what his credit score is. When I know he's got a good credit score, 757, number one, he can apply for his old job, which is AFFIRM or Klarna, right? You can use Klarna, and we can get them a done-for-you service where it's a pay now, pay later type of deal. Because I know your credit score, so it means if I know your credit score, it means that you're automatically qualified for the position, right?
I didn't really think about that, but I think there's also different kind of like providers for that, right? There's Klarna, or is it mostly just Klarna?
It's Klarna.
Klarna. That's cool.
We're just doing it via credit card transaction.
Yeah. I kind of asked, this was off camera, but I kind of asked him, how did he get started in this field, in the remote sales position? And he kind of told me a couple things. What is your favorite moment working in the remote sales community?
Great question, brother. So I think my favorite thing about remote sales, it has to be the freedom. Money is not the goal here, my friends. Money will come, money will go. But the freedom that I'm sorry to say, when I hear other people's situation and they say they have to wake up at 7 a.m. to go and drive in the snow, in the rain, everything, and do all that, I'm over here in bed. And if I'm not feeling it, I don't need to really get up until my first call. If my body is aching from a hard workout, I don't need to get up. I have the time and flexibility to hone on my skill set and go off of my calendar that would make me more money. And so for me, it's always been about freedom. And sometimes as a remote closer, when you do it so well, you're going to experience so much freedom and so much abundance. So
I can relate to this because when I was working for AFFIRM is a remote first company. So there's offices around the States, but everyone pretty much is working remote. And you couldn't really, go anywhere you'd like, especially internationally. There's very strict rules and things like that on that. But especially even just the fact that I can work from home or go to the Chicago office the next week because I'm visiting some friends in Chicago. Just the taste of that freedom was enough for me. Just getting the glimpse of the complete 100% remote sales life is the reason I'm in Vietnam right now in the first place. And again, it is crazy that God or universe had brought us together on that call a couple days ago, and grateful to be here, guys.
David, I guess some tips and gems, right, about remote sales. Is there anything you want to know based on, what you signed up for, right? You signed up for the Ask community. You signed up to enter into high-ticket sales. What are some things that you'd like to know that I could probably drop some gems here for you, for the students here, for anyone watching this right now? What are some things that you'd like to know personally? Where I'm here, right? We don't usually do this. And so, guys, if you're in my city, I'm down to connect for a lunch, dinner, whatever. But What are some things that you'd like to know to kind of enhance your skill sets whilst we're here today?
Yeah, so I know we're talking, and you kind of mentioned how a lot of, essentially our destiny, our income comes down to our set skills and our ability to how to close. How does a closer go from a 2 to 3K month to a 10K month? What does it take to get there, even personally, or even outsourcing, or I guess if that makes sense, how does a closer get from here to A to B in that sense?
It's a great question, brother. And I'd say this, right? I'd say the one thing that I want you guys to write down is that repetition carries conviction. The more you can do, the more you can get. Doing it over 100 times is the same as doing it over 1,000 times. It's all the same, right? The first 10, 20 reps, new calls, you might not perfect it. So how do you get better? Repetition carries conviction. It's conviction. And from the process of doing it and doing it and doing it, you have me, you have my team that will analyze your calls to understand where you went wrong. It could be on the part of, I can sense that this guy doesn't trust you. It could be in the sense of, you just were too nice at the very end. You let him go. Sometimes people want to do things. They don't want to be pushed, but they need your hand, and you need to meet them halfway. So it's really about understanding that it's all the same. Once you get it once, you've got it already. Once you make your first close online, brother, you have it already. Because I just had a student close his first deal. He's got it now, right? So once you experience your first close online, then you know, shit, you kind of stand a little bit taller. Something grows downstairs, It's your balls, right? And your balls just get a little bit bigger because now you're carrying something about you. You carry confidence. You carry conviction. And so when you're really in the game, right, is when you will know. You have to be in the game. You cannot quit. When the moment you quit is when you're out of the game.
Now, I don't know what made me think of this question right now, but it's almost like I'm so American. It's like, how does the closer's life work with the IRS? This literally just hit me. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Taxes, guys.
So if you're working for a business owner, right, what the business owner will do is send you a W-9, okay? Some online things, maybe he'll send you Zelle, right? And are you either going to report it? But at the end of the day, if you work for me and my company, we'll send you over a W-9. And that W-9 would mean that you're a contractor. You're an independent contractor, right? A part of the U.S. And that's a great question because a lot of people don't talk about, the income levels of paying your taxes as a remote closer. Yeah, you have to pay your taxes depending on where you're from. If you're working under my company, we'll give you a W-9. We'll make sure that you're assigned, and we'll make sure that if you're going to be making money and sending out Stripe links accounts, pay your taxes, right? And get a good accountant that can write it all off. And I know a couple of good ones. So, yeah. Taxes can be very low, and good question. I like that.
You gotta know people, guys.
You gotta know people, brother.
I mean, that's what it really comes down to, right? Is like the community aspect, who you can learn from. I think for me, it's like the fact that I get to meet Joey here and be with someone who's gone through it all, right? He's been there, he's done that. He's had 6-figure months. I mean, I can't even personally comprehend such thing right now, right? But mark my word, guys, I'll be there one day. I will be there.
You will.
And maybe we'll have another video on that day. I'll be like, guys, 6-figure months.
I hope so.
It's coming, boys. It's coming.
I hope so, right? And really, you have to understand this. It's that to get to new levels, it requires a new you. You have to cut the old you out to become a new you. You shouldn't reinvent yourself here, and understand that you can be you, but income matters. When you make more money, you become a different person. It's not about the money, it's about the person who you can become. That's what really changes. How I am right now, the confidence, the conviction, the communication is because 10 years ago, this was never me. I am convicted. I know it because I got it. I can tell. I can tell who has it, who doesn't. And so when you've done it enough times, you already know what to do. It's just now it's down to, are you going to put in the work? Are you going to make excuses? Because we all come from the same. You can talk English. I can talk English. And at the end of the day, you're doing something really cool right now, which is the more you travel, the more you see the world, the more you talk to different people, even like people behind us right now, right? When you talk to new people, it unlocks a new door. So guys, if you're young here, I want to make sure don't just talk to me. Don't just talk to David, right? Try and challenge yourself. Challenge talking to that 95-year-old grandma that's just smiling. Ask her how her day was. Because at the end of the day, you have to become this is a human-to-human business, right? So humanize yourself. Don't be an NPC robot. You don't need to be one. And that's how I'm going to say. And you do that by, David's doing such a great job. You're meeting new people. And so when you meet new people, you have more things to talk about. You understand about your world experience of coming to Vietnam. You're going to know more culture. You're going to know more funny words. If you crack up a joke, that leads to an emotion. That emotion leads to building rapport. And that's just what it is. Because then that leads to more trust. And that leads to that person buying from you. You understand? So don't really think too much about framework, but think, shit, how can I be your friend? At the same time, sell you a service that you want because you told me you want it. I didn't have to sell it to you. You told me you wanted to do this. Am I right?
That's right, baby. I think this question kind of goes hand in hand with what you were saying. So, I come from the B2B world. In my business development work at AFFIRM, I'd be cold calling to VPs of e-commerce, directors of sales, senior VP of merchandising, whatever it may be. And a lot of people who say, they've been in sales, I think kind of have come from a similar background in a sense where you're working through customer service kind of sales, where the closer world and this remote sales world in this community is more like human to human. What would be the best way for me to kind of throw that old sales mind away and then kind of get better at this new human to human thing where the corporate laws don't really matter?
Cool. So I'd say this, right? If you're coming from a corporate background, guys, just like David here, right? David's coming from a corporate background, doing B2B, working for a huge tech company, right? One of the biggest ones in America right now. And so, guys, if you're coming into remote sales, I would say this. Try to take off that corporate hat. At the end of the day, we're humans, man. We're on the internet. And so the number one thing I'd have to say for if you're watching this right now is make sure you become a human, become relatable. You don't need to say, sir, hello, sir, good kindness. You don't need to wear a suit, okay? What do you do on your off days when you're outside of work, David, right? You're working out. You're going to the gym. You're becoming you are a man. You're into the things that I like, right? We're into the same things. You like to talk. You like to make money. I mean, just get relatable, man. The number one thing you can do in high ticket sales is become relatable with that person. Because you're like me, man. We have Asian parents. You like working out. You like eating good food, right? You come from America. What more can I relate to you about? You know, what's your favorite music, and what's your favorite sporting team? And so the more I can relate with you, David, is the more that we can build like and trust. And that is what's going to separate you from the corporate world of having to deliver customer service versus the remote world, which is just being a likable friend, brother. That's it, man.
I think at the end of my first call with Joey, it really was like that. To me, it was a no-brainer because it's like I could have a great mentor, a great friend, and further down, even a brother that I can have dinner with in Da Nang, and the next thing we could lift, or next thing we could go to a rooftop bar, have a drink, and the next morning hop on a call at 10 a.m. and close deals. And that's the life I've envisioned for myself. And you know, you got to make that decision. You got to pull that trigger to hold yourself accountable so that you can grow and get on the next level. So I'm grateful to be here, brother. I really am.
My brother from another mother, half Korean, half American, and man, there's so many questions I'd love to ask you about just where you come from, the cloth you come from, and I know you've asked me about my cloth, where I've come from too, and that's it, man. We're getting to know each other on a deeper level, and that's amazing, right? And it's amazing that you're here right now, right here. This is it, man. All right, and learn, take everything, right? This to be here where you're at. A lot of people want to be here, in your shoes, right? Take it, learn that it's all about just being relatable. Relate. The framework can come through learning the theory, and the close comes through having a little bit of conviction. You've never sent out an invoice before, right? In high ticket sales. Learn that it's okay to pump your chest up a little bit higher and ask for the sale. A lot of times I see my students, they're kind of scared. You need to ask for the sale. Otherwise, there's no sale that gets made. You need to go through the objections and understand that people do get scared. People walk away. People end Google Meets. It gets intense. But it doesn't need to get intense based on how well you delivered your message, how well you've related to someone. And so being relatable to anyone, you just need to know more about them. And you do that by knowing the world, knowing life, man, you know? You do that where I can go over there and talk to that guy, and we can become best friends in 2 minutes, right? That 40-year-old man behind me. And we can go become best friends right now. I don't have a doubt about that. We can build up so much rapport. I ask the right questions. Where are you from, man? I love your shirt, man. I'm genuine about it, you know? I love what are you doing in Da Nang? And you build up a little relationship, right? It doesn't have to be a lot, right? There's different types of relationships that get built, right? And over time, you can just build deeper bonds.
Yeah, I didn't really think about it that way, but it makes sense. And in the back of my head, I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna go kill it. Because right, it's like I love that, but especially with traveling. Like I've met so many incredible friends in Europe and South Africa, even when I was visiting. I met this crazy German guy in Austria. He's like quarter Indian. I'm going to an Indian wedding in January.
Crazy.
Who would have thought? I'm going back to Hoi An to get myself a suited. Hoi An is one of the most famous places, arguably in the world, for affordable custom tailored suits. Amazing. So, gotta lose some couple pounds and get myself suited for the Indian wedding January, baby.
Yeah. To be a good closer, to be a high performer in general, you know, get yourself in the best state of energy. How do you do that? You get yourself back to where you know you can perform, right? Back to your flow state. If it means shedding a couple of pounds, I've been there. I've been in a place where comfort has exist in my life. You see? But now I found my purpose. I found my next divine, and it means that I need to serve the world. I need to serve my purpose. This is what has given me a lot of freedom, a lot of life, a lot of energy. I don't drink coffee, brother. Don't need it. Go based off of what's in here first, and you just feel it as you keep going. Just don't give up. Once you give up, then it's game over. It depends how long do you want to be in this game for. It's gonna suck some days. You're gonna curse. You're gonna swear. You're gonna be like, fuck, I didn't close any deals. This, that, the other, right? It's part of the game, brother. You're gonna get no shows. You're gonna get people that don't show up. You're gonna get people that dispute. You're gonna get a lot of things happening, but you signed up for this. So welcome to the game, man. Welcome to the community, and welcome to the next journey of your life, man. I'm really excited for this brotherhood, and I'll see you today. I'll probably see you again here in Vietnam, and then I'll see you over in America when we have our high-level mastermind that you'll be able to attend and gain more wisdom, gain more knowledge, and just gain life experiences, man. When you get life experiences, it all works.
Yeah, it is really crazy to think about. Just even the last couple days, how fast life changes. Even yesterday, I met someone new from Scotland that I traveled to Da Nang with today. I mean, life is crazy, guys. You don't have to stay. Well, I can't speak for everyone because I know how hard it is to leave. Some people even their hometown or their state. Some people that I know live in Buffalo, New York, have never even been to New York City. Something I can't comprehend, but get uncomfortable, guys. There's a world to see and live out here. As Shia LaBeouf said, just do it.
Just do it, baby.
Just do it. Book that flight. Book that flight. If you have to eat noodles every day just to go somewhere new, do that. I've done that before. We stay at the worst places, the worst hostels. It doesn't matter. In Vietnam here, I know a guy who 7-day hostel paid like $10. How crazy is that? In New York City, you can't get one night of sleep in anywhere for $300 maybe. This is the world's crazy, guys.
You've done something here, David, right? I would call you now. I would change your Instagram bio to Digital Nomad David, right? That's who. Yep. DND, baby. And so I would leave you guys with this one, right? It's for the guys here that have invested in themselves, the guys here that are watching this and might have not invested into themselves, right? It's this. It's forget the thief in the alley that's after your purse. Remember. And it's about, what about the thief in your mind? I'm going to repeat that again. I'm not the thief over here, okay? Forget about the thief that's in your purse. What about the thief in your mind? The one that's saying you can't do this, you can't do that, you're not going to change your life. Get that person out of there and release that. So with that being said, everyone,